Summary of the previous part. Whitebeard never imagined that Kaido would ask Sengoku to betray the Navy. In reality, no one in the Navy, despite their power, would dare to entertain such an idea. They held high positions, with numerous benefits, and their strong belief in justice and peace made the notion of betrayal unthinkable. Kaido's request shocked Sengoku. Though he admitted Kaido's point about the celestial dragons being the greatest evil, he refused to cooperate with pirates. For Sengoku, maintaining stability and protecting civilians was essential. Without the Navy, civilians would suffer even more under pirate rule. Garp, too, understood the necessity of the Navy despite his disdain for the celestial dragons. He believed the system, though flawed, was better than anarchy. In response to Kaido's proposal, Sengoku instead offered Kaido a place in the Navy, tempting him with the possibility of becoming a new admiral. The conversation revealed Kaido's shift towards peace, but whether he would truly join the Navy remained uncertain. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. And I wish you all an enjoyable listening experience.
Whitebeard remained calm on the outside, but anxiously waited for Kaido's response. The same is true of the Navy. Sengoku invited him back, and his heart was filled with ripples. He had never been so nervous before. Because once Kaido agrees, not only will the Navy completely change the current situation, they can also borrow Kaido's power to quell all pirates, red hair, Big Mom, all will die. Perhaps the world will no longer have pirates, and enter an era of peace. Garp, Aokiji, Kizaru are also waiting. As for them, peace means outside. There is also meaning in life. Kaido joins the Navy. They can all live. If Kaido refuses, they will most likely be in danger. Akainu had just developed his devil fruit to its true limit, becoming in existence on the same level as Roger, Garp, and Whitebeard during their peak period, but he was severely injured by Kaido with just one move. Faced with their different mindsets waiting, Kaido also at this time gave a definite answer, saying, "Sengoku, it seems you and Akainu are the same. Both were scared out of their wits by the inner workings of the celestial dragons. You invited me to join the Navy. Simply do not believe I can overthrow the celestial dragon." "Listen," Sengoku nodded and said, "this is indeed the biggest reason. This step is impossible to complete, let alone the subsequent reconstruction, pacification of chaos, and other problems. It's just like Akainu said, that year God Valley, you were also there. Don't you know the situation at that time?" This word confirmed that Kaido is asking. "Myself ... I really don't know. I am a transmigrator, and after becoming Kaido, not all of my memories were inherited. Just like the ancient God Valley thing, too long. Plus, at that time Kaido was actually very weak, and his survival was completely dependent on Big Mom's help. This must be a humiliating and frightening experience for Kaido. So Kaido probably also intentionally forgot about God Valley's memories. That is, Kaido actually has no memories related to God Valley. Basically did not understand what happened at that time, to be honest." Kaido looked at Garp, then looked at Whitebeard, and said, "The matter of God Valley, I really forgot. If you remember, why don't you tell me a little?" Kaido just said this, the scene was completely quiet again. Everyone's eyes widened a bit. Sengoku and the others were also carefully trying to determine whether Kaido was joking or not. "You motherfucker, a personal experience person. You mean well said you forgot. Funny, right? Are you trying to prank people? More later." Sengoku and the others saw that Kaido was still very attentive, and they couldn't help but be shocked. Is Kaido attentive? He really forgot about God Valley. "You really don't remember anything?" Whitebeard asked. Hearing that, Kaido nodded. "It's been so long, I basically forgot. Can this be forgotten?" Sengoku glared. "Everyone so old, have not forgotten. Whitebeard is dying of old age, not yet. You are in your prime. You mean well said you forgot." Various confirmations. Kaido was not joking. Sengoku sighed and said, "Garp, I'll say it. Whitebeard took the initiative at this moment and said, Kaido, since you forgot everything you said, then I will roughly explain it to you. Do you still remember rocks? Kaido nodded and said, remember, and I know that Roger joined forces with Garp to take care of rocks. That's good. Let me introduce you to who Rocks is. Whitebeard continued, at that time, Rocks wanted to become the king of the world, so he attacked God Valley. And God Valley was the place where the celestial dragons trained their core elites. Basically, the strongest and most potential celestial dragons gathered at God Valley to receive training. Kaido really doesn't know about this. Regarding the God Valley Great War, it is still a secret until now. Only know that at that time Rocks, possibly because of this battle, became the World King. In the end, he was defeated by Garp and Roger. But the Celestial Dragon Man hid the fact that the Navy and pirates joined forces. All the credit goes to Garp. Garp also became a hero of the Navy because of that. These are the parts Kaido knows. Remaining, it's the first time I've heard of it. This moment feels so exciting. Kaido asked, so the celestial dragons in the Holy Land are only the lowest level of celestial dragons. The real elites are all in God Valley. Is that what you mean? That's right. You forgot so thoroughly. You really are Kaido. Whitebeard couldn't help but wonder, and Kaido, completely confident, put his hands on his hips and said, if you can find the second Kaido. That's right, the crowd gave up doubting. Indeed, Kaido's strength and demeanor are unmatched in the world. He is not Kaido. Who is Kaido? Whitebeard continued. At that time, when Rocks attacked God Valley, he obtained some intelligence. The celestial dragon obtained a group of the strongest large devil fruits. Just by eating these devil fruits, they will have the power to dominate the entire world. But Rocks hoped to get this group of fruits. Just like that, you can become the king of the world. But the fight was also very successful. I bear the Gura Gura no Mi, your Azure Dragon fruit. There are also many extremely top-grade, extremely powerful fruits, all of which were obtained from the hands of the celestial dragons at that time in God Valley. This point you have not forgotten. You don't even remember when you ate the devil fruit, do you? Hearing Whitebeard say that, Kaido was startled at this moment. It is true. At God Valley, Kaido was still very weak. Big Mom obtained the Azure Dragon fruit and gave it to Kaido. Only then did he become Azure Dragon Kaido. When Big Mom met him 2 years later, she once talked about this, saying that this was a lifetime favor, so that's it, God Valley's secret. Originally is like this. The celestial dragons used extremely terrifying resources to cultivate their elites. Rocks stabbed with one kick, took all the resources, and probably killed many celestial dragons. There are so many scary fruits that can destroy the world, so this Rock's action can be called is to become the king of the world action. This form does not keep the correction rule. No wonder it didn't know these before. Kaido is also suspicious. God Valley killed a few celestial dragons, can become the king of the world. It turns out that killing the celestial dragon is not the key. The fruit there is the key. What happened next? Kaido asked. What I find strange is that Garp stopped Rocks. I can understand. Why did Roger also have to help and attack Rocks? Shouldn't Roger be fighting against the Navy and the celestial dragons? Really, it's just Roger's weird behavior. Garp is also very strange. Why does he want to protect the Long Non? Why does Roger want to protect the celestial dragons? Sitting and watching Rocks and the Dragon Man fight dog on dog, isn't that good? What does Chaos support? These two people simply do not understand each other. Listen, Whitebeard said nothing, but looked towards Garp. Actually, Whitebeard knew the reason. But when it comes to Garp's matter, it's obviously better to let Garp himself speak. And Garp also understood the meaning in Whitebeard's gaze. That is, Garp sighed softly and replied, Kaido, you completely forgot the exact truth. Then I will tell you. Rocks raid the celestial dragon's actions, angering the Gorosei. The angry dragon man decided to make a move. I don't know what it is, I only heard it can destroy the world. They want to destroy rocks, even want to destroy the entire pirate world, and have the courage to resist the celestial dragon people. Must strengthen control over the entire world. What do you mean, the celestial dragons want to carry out a large-scale extermination of the entire world? Once the real heavenly dragon does so. In the world, almost all kingdoms and islands are about to fall into a destructive disaster. All commoners want to become slaves. All people become slaves is the method of strengthening the control of the celestial dragons. I knew this at the time, therefore I cannot let the celestial dragon men make a move. As long as I get rid of rocks, the plan to enslave all humanity by the celestial dragons will not be implemented. And Roger also knows about this, for all humanity. Let's join hands and take care of rocks. That celestial dragon man is about to use his trump card, the plan to enslave all humanity, so it is suspended. Double quotes. The world, therefore, welcomes peace. Garp recalled, at that moment, the whole process. Together with him and Roger's motives, both were made very clear. Kaido was silent, deep inside, very scared. It turns out that Roger joined forces with Garp to protect the celestial dragons. It seems like they're treating the celestial dragons like dogs, but it turns out that it's to prevent the celestial dragons from getting too angry, destroying and enslaving all of humanity. This states a fact that is in Garp and Roger's eyes. The inner story of the Dragon King, so strong, they have no ability to resist. Can only try to calm down the anger of the Dragon God. How deep is the inner strength of the celestial dragon? How strong is it? Kaido couldn't help but feel his heart pounding. Of course, there is no fear, I have a system. Can be champion attribute class, who cares about your background? You are at most invincible, but I have a system, progress is limitless. The stronger the celestial dragon, the more limitless progress can it make, so Kaido was only surprised, but not afraid or even retreated. God Valley prehistory and consequences. This moment has all been told. Sengoku Buddha also opened his mouth. Kaido, does this help you remember anything? You should know, the celestial dragon is powerful, right? They can destroy the world at any time, and enslave all humanity. It's just that they don't have any plans to do so yet. If our Navy rebels. If the celestial dragon feels threatened. Double quotes. Like this, we cannot defeat the celestial dragons. But later, the celestial dragon will deal with us all later. We will start all over again, the plan to enslave all humanity. Everyone, as soon as they are born, are strictly monitored and controlled. From childhood to adulthood, they are malnourished, without any hope of growing up or becoming stronger. This is the consequence of rebelling against the heavenly dragons. Momentary disturbance, pull up the whole world. Bury all humanity together. You think I have the ability to respond and fight against the celestial dragons with you? So, it's still the same saying. Join the Navy, Kaido. Only by joining the celestial dragons and exerting influence on the celestial dragons from within can true peace be brought about. Our Navy these years, countless times prevented the heavenly dragons from impulsively acting. Double quotes. What we do is the only way to truly strive for peace. Kaido was silent. Sengoku's words, from their perspective, were extremely reasonable. There was no way to overthrow the rule of the celestial dragons. So what is it like to join, become a dog dragon? The heavenly dragons will look at the dog's loyalty and give the dog some face. This is the dog's way of winning peace. This is no way compared to a moment of impulse, being dealt with by the celestial dragon. While alive, a little change, a little bit of peace, is obviously more valuable. Of course, they also did not completely place their hopes in, and joined the heavenly dragons in exchange for a little bit of peace. Like Garp, His son is a revolutionary. He was obviously betting on both ends. Also hoped to bring about a turning point. But Garp was also very rational, thinking that the probability of the revolutionary army succeeding was not very high, so Garp himself was still for the Navy's sake, for the Heavenly Dragon's sake. And there's Roger. He also deeply realized the difference in strength with the Celestial Dragon. It is not hit back, so go to One Piece, conquer the Grand Line, learn all the secrets, and become the Pirate King later. He had no choice but to use this sick body to fight against the Celestial Dragon Man. But it is a choice of confession, because he knew. If he went and risked his life, at most 1 or 2 lives would be lost from the Lost Knights. This cannot be said to have no meaning in overthrowing the rule of the Heavenly Dragons. It can only be said to be useless. So Roger confessed, "Want me to protect you? Then go to the sea to search. I left it all there, one piece." The world thus welcomed the Great Pirate Era. Roger hopes that in the Great Pirate Era, free will can be born. Born, people who can truly overthrow the rule of the Celestial Dragons. This makes the death of the Pirate King all the more meaningful. The new official rule of the Heavenly Dragons left a trace of a crack. In other words, any understanding of the Heavenly Dragon human powerhouse. Roger, Garp, Sengoku, Whitebeard... They all know that overthrowing the Heavenly Dragons is impossible. They are extremely powerful. Sengoku now retreated, choosing to invite Kaido to join the Navy, to seek peace from within, is also a very normal thing. But Kaido is different from them, no matter how hard they tried. No matter how strong they became, they could never be strong enough to compete with the Celestial Dragons. Kaido what do I need to do? What do I need to do from within? I will now go to war with the Celestial Dragons. What inside story? You, the Heavenly Dragon, if you can be stronger than the system, then Kaido will accept it, but this is impossible. If the Celestial Dragon is stronger than the system also will not declare anything, handle and branch tasks. There is this kind of quest, so it's clear, being in this system is nothing. Not even a fart is possible, that is. Kaido, under everyone's attentive gaze, replied to Sengoku, "I can understand your understanding and stance. The Heavenly Dragons follow you. Absolutely invincible. Resisting the Celestial Dragons is meaningless. It may even anger the Celestial Dragons, dragging countless innocent civilians down with them, and even possibly making all of humanity slaves for life after life. You guys be careful to influence the Heavenly Dragons bit by bit, for the sake of the common people. Try to have as much peace as possible, but I'm not the same. In my eyes, the Celestial Dragon is not absolutely invincible. They will also lose and die. I have destroyed all their confidence. Anyway, a summit battle, my strength, you all saw, therefore ... double quotes. Follow me to overthrow the Celestial Dragon. It's not a surefire way to die, but it is an opportunity, a real hope, for the whole world to be freed from slavery, to gain the chance of freedom. You choose to gamble your lives, to seize this little ray of hope. Still choose to give up, be loyal to the Celestial Dragons for life. I can give you the chance to choose. Kaido still hopes to be able to pull them together to resist the Celestial Dragons. Because the whole world will be shocked, countless people will be shaken. The reputation of the Thin Long Non received a serious blow, and their control began to loosen. Kaido hopes for victory will be greater. Because Kaido, until now, only has invincible attack power. In other words, it is not even a champion level. It's hard not to care. Play something with all your might for decades. Of course it is still better to get as much help as possible. If you really are trying not to come, it doesn't matter. I buy one dog. Many receive several rewards is fine, but Kaido these words. To silence the crowd, authentication. Kaido's strength, everyone knows it clearly, strong to the point of being unnatural. This kind of person perhaps really has the chance to overthrow the rule of the Heavenly Dragons. But his Sengoku was still worried and said, Kaido, let's take a step back and talk. Consider yourself successful in overthrowing the rule of the celestial dragons. But so what? Can you guarantee that the world in the future will be better than it is now? Who knows? It might be even worse than it is now, but you, Kaido, are very likely to be more brutal than the celestial dragons. Because your actions in Wano country, everyone knows it clearly. This is not something you can change just by saying it. To tell the truth, your actions are hard to believe, so following you is a wise thing to do. The world is stable now, so it can be considered acceptable. We cannot risk becoming an accomplice to a greater disaster. This is also what Garp thinks. Garp, Aokiji, Kizaru also couldn't help but nod. Kaido's fierce reputation, everyone has heard. This kind of person, even if he pushed down the celestial dragon man, would probably be even worse off than now. At that time, the whole world will receive more painful disasters than now. How can they face it? Although the celestial dragons are very bad, the world as a whole is considered stable. Occasionally, there will be commoners who cultivate and become very powerful, going against the grain of life. And Kaido rules the lower world. It is possible that everyone will not even have time to eat, let alone become stronger. Perhaps those with the potential to become great generals will also starve to death under Kaido's rule, without the chance to rise up. How is that different from the plan of the celestial dragons to enslave all humanity? That year, Garp cooperated with Roger, risking his life to deal with rocks, precisely to prevent such a miserable world. Listen, Kaido can explain. In fact, Kaido and the straight meaning, really not too related, the people of Wano country, all lived extremely miserable lives, really not full of food. Now I suddenly say something big and straightforward. It's normal for them not to believe, immediately believing. Actually, there's a problem, however. For this kind of distrust, Kaido was already prepared. That is, at this moment, Kaido was very calm and asked, have you heard of Nika fruit? Nika fruit. The crowd was startled, them heard of. But they may not have heard of it. This is a secret that the celestial dragon desperately tried to hide. So even though they knew, they kept it to themselves. Kaido. This moment the fist punched out. Infinite Arms Bull Chief, continue to collect. Gomu Gomu no Mi fruit. The crowd was startled again. Kaido, you. Fruit pear. This place is in an uproar. Sengoku, Garp, Whitebeard, the two generals, they were all not calm. It's the dual fruit ability user again. But the second fruit is still the Gomu Gomu no Mi fruit. They actually know Gomu Gomu no Mi fruit is the yet to awaken Nika fruit. In history, no second person has awakened, so it took the name of the Gomu Gomu no Mi fruit to exist. And the current Gomu Gomu no Mi fruit ability user. Not Luffy. How come Kaido has it too? The whole thing is very complicated. No need to explain. Kaido said, the truth is, I have the Gomu Gomu no Mi fruit, and I can guarantee that it will definitely awaken in the future and become the Nika fruit. Perhaps it is this fruit that changes my mind. In short, as a Nika fruit ability user, I will definitely bring peace, freedom and beauty to the world, right? The crowd looked at Kaido in surprise. Because of the sudden incident, their heads were momentarily stiff, totally thinking but not clear. Why can there be the Gomu Gomu no Mi fruits? To Nika fruits, is that Luffy pill fake? Or is this Kaido pill fake? But Kaido, his personality really changes a lot. This can't be explained. Perhaps only Nika fruit can explain. Maybe. Kaido eats, that is the real Nika fruit. Perhaps it was also because of this fruit that Kaido was able to obtain such great power. Just like that, personality is good, strength is good, Kaido's changes are all understandable. So you're the Nika fruit ability user. Double quotes. Sengoku said in shock. Compared to Luffy, such a weak guy. Still a huge change. Kaido is Nika fruit ability user. Probability is higher. The crowd looked towards Kaido at that moment. The look is earth-shattering. Nick of fruit, indeed, is somewhat trustworthy, even if the person used to eat it is a notorious person like Kaido. Kaido has too many secrets. How did he become a dual fruit ability user? But the crowd of people were shocked, confused, and in disbelief. There is also some fluctuation. Kaido is a Nick of fruit power user, maybe follow him. It is possible to overthrow the heavenly dragons and from then on, establish a beautiful world. Think about it. Sengoku looked at Garp, then at the two generals, and finally at Whitebeard. Obviously hesitating, obviously thinking, agreed to assist Kaido. Kaido waited patiently, give them time to think and decide. But at Sengoku and the others, the more they wavered, it was obvious that it was time to agree to follow them. Sengoku, Garp, what are you guys doing? You were really fooled by his sweet words. A voice full of haughty, carrying anger rang out. He is a pirate, a cruel pirate who enslaved the entire Wano country. How can you listen to pirates, and even be shaken by pirates? You too. Please sober up. Pirates are pirates. All their lives they are pirates. All are criminals. This will not change. This is ingrained. Follow me. Take care of Whitebeard and Kaido. For the world, bring true peace. This is called making peace. This time the senior admonished the junior with angry words, which resounded in the Navy headquarters, causing Sengoku and Garp to be startled. They raised their heads and looked toward a silver-haired, fully erected, muscular figure. This figure, they are too familiar, was a Navy Marshal, current Commander-in-Chief of the Army. Marshal Khan, Steel Bones Khan. Cyborg Khan appeared, immediately making the originally wavering Sengoku and Garp return to the Marine stance. Facing each superior, everyone fought side by side and defeated countless pirates. Naturally, the bonds between them were even deeper. Marshal Khan, Sengoku is used to this form of address, even though Cyborg Khan left the Navy a long time ago. Garp also looked towards Cyborg Khan. Cyborg Khan, enter the battlefield. His eyes looked towards Kaido, then towards Sengoku and Garp. And he reprimanded, "What the hell happened to you two? Not only did you negotiate peace with the pirates, but you were also shaken by the pirates. When did your will become so unstable?" The headquarters Navy was directly cut off. There is also direct CP, the world government side at the entire journey observed this battle live. Aiming at Kaido, he collected a lot of intelligence. At this moment, he was desperately analyzing Kaido's abilities. Who would have thought that the intelligence analysis would suddenly stop? After Kaido finished off Akainu, he didn't make a move again. Instead, he started to incite Sengoku and Garp, and it seemed to have some success. Cyborg Khan was also observing this summit battle the whole time. He immediately wanted to step in to stop it. The CP general found him at this time. Their opinions coincided. All were to let Cyborg Khan go over to stop it. Cyborg Khan finally arrived in time, before Sengoku and Garp completely wavered, preventing them from rebelling. Now Cyborg Khan only regrets not being able to turn iron into steel and teaches Sengoku and Garp. If you can't beat Kaido, it's over. The Navy Marshal and Navy hero still want to rebel. How big of an insult is this? The first half of his life attacking the pirate career will become a laughing stock. How irrational is this? Sengoku and Garp silently responded to Cyborg Khan's teachings. They also know that it is not right to act against their will, but what Kaido said also makes sense. This is the only time in their life they have truly had the opportunity to overthrow the rule of the heavenly dragons, and also have the opportunity to rebuild a beautiful world. They joined the Navy, not because they liked the celestial dragons, but because the world was more peaceful and beautiful, right? If rebellion could make the world better, they would naturally choose to rebel, and would not really be the steadfast hunting dogs of the heavenly dragons, but is. They also do not dare to be 100% sure that following Kaido is definitely correct. But there is also the possibility that things will turn out worse. So they couldn't refute letting Cyborg Khan lecture them. "Don't be silly," Cyborg Khan growled softly and said. The two powerful enemies are right before our eyes. There is no time to chat about useless things. I will go stop Kaido. You guys quickly deal with Whitebeard. Then come together to collect all of Kaido. Marshal Khan, Sengoku, and Garp want to say something. But it was Cyborg Khan who made his move. Kaido didn't pay attention to Cyborg Khan. But it was enough to make Cyborg Khan burn. Cyborg Khan is not really that strong. Although he is the former Navy Marshal, he is the current Army Marshal. The peak of strength is the Sengoku level. But the older he gets, the weaker he becomes. There is only one pirate in the world whose strength has not weakened due to age, and that is Garp. Cyborg Khan was not particularly strong, and was now old. His current abilities were at most the same as the old and weak Sengoku and Whitebeard, on the same level as Aokiji, Red Hair, and the others, weaker than Garp. That little bit of power, dealing with Kaido, is actually no different from suicide. Kaido was not paying attention and could make Cyborg Khan burn, almost like he was toying with him. Fighting with him, Sengoku, Garp, have you thought it through? Kaido could even be distracted, saying, "Do you want to rebel or not? Follow me to overthrow the heavenly dragons. If you refuse, I also fully understand, but because of that, we are enemies. You are definitely going to die." Sounds like collecting to dogs, either follow you or die, a bit of a villainous atmosphere. But in fact it is so reasonable. Both sides are originally enemies, just have the opportunity to become allies, and if they are not willing to seize the opportunity to become allies, then of course they return to the enemy position. You die, I live. Sengoku and Garp looked at each other. Obviously all are swaying, hesitant. See, Cyborg Khan was both scared and angry. He was shocked. How could this Kaido be so strong? He used all his strength to attack him, but he was completely unaffected, casually blocking all his attacks, and still had the leisure to chat with others. I am the commander-in-chief of the entire army. A legend on the vast ocean, extremely humiliating. What made him even more angry was that Kaido was inciting Sengoku and Garp in front of him, yet these two were hesitating, still having to follow the trend. This person in front of me appeared, completely not waking up those two people, eh? Sengoku, Garp, you guys wake up a bit. Have you forgotten your identity? Marine Marshal, Marine Hero. You guys even remember the declaration of joining the Marines before. You guys are betraying your lifelong wish. How can you be worthy of the two words justice behind you? Cyborg Khan shouted angrily, desperately trying to wake them up. But Cyborg Khan misunderstood. Sengoku and Garp were not yet awake. There was no need to be awakened. Of course the Cyborg Khan in his imagination would not appear. The two of them looked like they had just woken up from a dream. No matter what he said, it was all in vain. Marshal Khan. Sengoku replied at this moment, saying, I have never remembered my oath, my wish. I do not dare to betray for a moment the two words of justice behind me, but the Navy must be righteous. Pirates must be wrong. In this life, I have participated, commanded, and initiated demon-slaying orders. Too many to count, those raised islands, kingdoms, and countless civilians who died tragically. Are they all evil? Is there anyone innocent? I did not dare say these words before. Because I know how small I am, I can only be patient. Now, I see the possibility of overthrowing the rule of the heavenly dragons and humans, and rebuilding a beautiful world. Double quotes. I am not willing to be patient, from beginning to end. I firmly stood on the side of justice. Right now I think the Navy's stance is probably no longer righteous. Leaving the Navy is truly righteous. I did not betray justice. It was the celestial dragon, from beginning to end, who betrayed all of us. Sengoku said what he wanted to say all his life, but didn't dare to say, and rebelled against the heavenly dragon. In fact, everyone can see the Navy carrying out the orders of the celestial dragons countless times, just how evil they are. Any low-level celestial dragon can command the Navy to launch a massacre, and even want to accompany it with the name of justice. Didn't everyone see it? Everyone saw it, but didn't dare to speak. Now that it's said, one can imagine how liberated Sengoku was at this moment. A lifetime of words wanted to say, thought of questioning the matter, finally had the opportunity. Had the courage to say it, thoughts are all clear. You are simply crazy, you are really crazy, how can you say such words? Cyborg Kong said angrily, but he also couldn't say it. And more reasonably, he couldn't answer Sengoku's doubts and questions. In fact, Cyborg Khan knew that Sengoku's words were correct, but a person's stance and will were not so easily changed. Cyborg Kong had been a celestial dragon human his entire life, and now that he was the commander-in-chief of the entire army, he was even more stubborn. So, Sengoku Garp, Kaido spoke, listen. Sengoku looked towards Kaido. The last bit of hesitation in his eyes disappeared, replaced by determination. Continuing to stay in the Navy is also a waste of life. Now that I see hope, then I will risk my life to capture it. I don't like that bunch of trash from heavenly dragons from beginning to end, Garp said. The meaning of these words, everyone understands. Sengoku and Garp. Traitor and pirates, you guys. Cyborg Khan's blood immediately turned upside down, with a feeling of wanting to vomit blood in anger. These two people who had been attacking pirates for decades, and were very representative of the Navy, actually just like that, rebelled, moreover, under his strong persuasion. They still chose to rebel. I have been away from the Navy for too long. I have no prestige, right? Cyborg Khan angrily addressed them. Sengoku Garp, you guys just became traitors. Just joined the pirates. I just choose peace, Sengoku said. What peace can pirates bring? Cyborg Khan angrily said, you two, are you old and your brains have degenerated right now? Kaido turned around and looked at Kizaru and Aokiji, the two generals. What do you think? Do you want to join me and overthrow the celestial dragons? Cyborg Khan glared, looking back urgently. Those two old men rebelled and it was over. Young people will not also want to rebel. In fact, even Sengoku and Garp, who were as steadfast as the Navy, chose to rebel. How could the two admirals stand so firmly on the Navy's stance? Furthermore, these two admirals were originally all kinds of fishmongers, not the particularly radical type of Navy. With the Marshal and Hero as role models, they finally compromised and chose to rebel. You also joined the pirate camp. Cyborg Kong really wants to vomit blood. He was so angry that his head felt like it was going to explode. His blood pressure skyrocketed, his face was swollen, and countless amounts of blood were flowing back into his skull. One Marshal. One hero, two generals. This is counterformation. Speaking of which, simply causing a devastating blow to the Navy's reputation would also turn the world government into a laughingstock. Whitebeard scratched his head at this moment. Who would have thought that these old men who spent their whole lives chasing pirates would one day stand on the pirate camp's side, as expected? As long as you live long enough, you can encounter anything. Cyborg Khan now took a few steps back, looking at these guys who were all enemies. Cyborg Khan, cold voice said, since you have decided, then prepare to pay a heavy price. You will be wanted by the greatest level. The inner workings of the celestial dragons will also not be hidden anymore. That is not something you can accept. Finished speaking, Cyborg Khan turned to leave. Kaido took a step forward, planned to take on Cyborg Khan. Anyway, after instigating Sengoku and Garp, they encountered a problem, which was the killing a legendary character branch mission, which was stuck. Now Cyborg Khan appears as the former Navy Marshal. He is absolutely legendary. Just killing him completes the mission. But Kaido Kenban Shokuhaki predicts the future. In fact, everyone noticed the abnormality. At this moment, everyone's eyes looked towards a corner. Whitebeard was alert. Cyborg Khan also stopped and looked over. Just met from the secret place, came a figure. This figure wore a pure white suit, white flying wind, white hat, and a poker-light Great King mask on his face. Commander-in-Chief, the person in charge. Sengoku and his men immediately recognized him, already knew there were CP people nearby. Still thought it was just a few captains, small officers, and other characters. The possibility of Sengoku and the others rebelling would make even the CP chief officer unable to sit still, even though he is the CP general, his strength is not inferior to that of the generals and the 4 emperors. But in the current situation, he has no use at all. Is he looking for death? The crowd looked at him suspiciously, wondering what CP was here for. Why are you here? Cyborg Khan asked. Sengoku, Garp, Kizaru, Aokiji all rebelled. This place is very dangerous now. We can't do anything to them. We can only return and use stronger forces. Listen. This man wearing a white suit, hands in pockets, said, "The above facing you is very disappointed, Khan. You came. Nothing has changed. You can't even convince anyone to turn back. The above cannot help but consider your real use." What do you mean? Cyborg Khan was stunned. Letting you take on the role of commander-in-chief of the entire army is to respect your prestige and strength. But in both of these aspects, you have disappointed the above. The CP commander-in-chief said you were teased by Kaido, unable to stop the Navy from rebelling. The higher-ups think that you have lost your usefulness, and plan to execute everyone in the Navy headquarters, including you. If you want to rebuild the Navy, you useless old men, prepare to withdraw. The higher-ups want to execute me together. Cyborg Khan was startled. I clearly did not rebel. I clearly am so loyal to the superiors. Why are you even with me? CP said nothing more. The reason just said, because feels Cyborg Khan is useless. For him, general disappointed. If he could persuade even a single general, the higher-ups would probably consider sparing his life. No one advised to return. Just this, and before the Navy Marshal. What about the general? Do you have a heart? Do you have prestige? Do you have influence, even without strength? Kaido made fun of him like a fool. What good can keeping this kind of person do? Incompetence. Still together to solve everything satisfactorily, to completely rebuild the Navy. Cyborg Khan cannot take it. For what? Cyborg Khan approached the CP general, asking incomprehensibly, his pupils rapidly constricting. 1 second later, behind Cyborg Khan, a gray figure appeared. This figure appeared out of nowhere. Without any warning, bring the knife, stab into Cyborg Khan's body. Cyborg Khan looked down and saw the blade coming out from his chest. Faces full of disbelief, not to say, I was injured. Stabbed in the back is an unbelievable type. But he was shocked to find that he could no longer use his strength, as if he had instantly become a cripple. My force. Cyborg Khan was shocked. CP General Officer calmly said, Experimental subject Vegapunk, the medicine I gave you last time was not to improve your physical qualities, but to control you. It's still in the experimental stage, so I'll just let you and the slave try it. It seems the effect isn't too bad. Although there is no way to control what you do, it is possible to limit your actions. In the future, it can be used to control all generals and marshals. The Dragon King has always been in pursuit of human control since Vegapunk came along. A lot of experiments have suddenly increased. Created all kinds of very effective inventions, pharmaceuticals, war machines, etc. In fact, the Celestial Dragon also knew that the Navy here was not particularly loyal. Those generals were all just playing with fish and water. So they had already let Vegapunk research and create some medicine that could control people, sacrificing countless slaves after barely succeeding. Cyborg Khan, as the closest outsider to the Celestial Dragon, was guarded by the top Celestial Dragon, so they gave him medicine first. Cyborg Khan's gray figure behind him disappeared, dissolving into the CP General's body. That seems to be his clone, not sure what kind of devil fruit it is. Cyborg Khan, falling to the ground. Goodbye, CP General, at this moment smiled. You guys prepare to welcome the end of the world. Finished speaking. The CP General Officer's body is slowly disappearing. You want to go? Have you asked me? Kaido appeared behind the CP General. CP General's face suddenly changed. When will you arrive? Damn it. At first came a fake Bobbin, quickly withdrew, simply handsome and formidable. How did Kaido come? Kaido also did not understand. Such a slow-speed guy, how could he have the intention to come and pretend to leave? Is he too confident in his own strength, or too uncertain? Not important. No matter which one, Kaido now wants him to pay a heavy price. The Lang Na stick struck towards the CP General's head. He reacted quickly and used his arm to block it. His arm bones were broken. Then even the arm carrying the Wolf-Tooth Club smashed onto his head. The CP General Officer's head instantly turned into a crushed watermelon. Then the CP General's body fell to the ground. White and red color flowed from his neck. Got down to eat garlic. The crowd was startled. CP is honored as the strongest protector of the heavenly dragons. The biggest reason is because of the existence of this general officer before their eyes. Although his strength is that of a general, for Emperor's level, but his difficulty level is very high. It is said that his vitality is extremely full, very difficult to defeat. No matter what, his resistance level should be comparable to Akainu's. Akainu only got dealt with after a few moves. The CP of the general manager was already gone with one hit. Kaido also bowed his head to look at this corpse. The body suddenly began to twist, then expand. The white suit was blown to pieces. A large brown mass of blimp-like balloons expanding to have a large warship, like a small Seeking. The CP General Officer is indeed not that simple. Expansion is completely over. His body shape is also exposed. There should be 3 dog heads in one head, but one head is missing, leaving 2 heads. This is... Sengoku and the others also saw the CP General's fruit ability for the first time. Before, everyone was not familiar with each other, and CP was high and mighty, looking down on the Navy, and had no chance to understand the opponent's abilities. But everyone has a connection to the knowledge devil fruit. This is Zoan type Inuin no Mi mythical Zoan 3-headed hell dog form. Sengoku and his men realized. Kaido calmly looked over at mythical Zoan again. This world mythical Zoan, are there so many that the roads are ruined, but thinking about it, it makes sense. Mythical Zoan has extraordinary potential. It is the strongest type of devil fruit. Celestial Dragon is the one who collects mythical Zoan. That's why there are so many mythical Zoan. In fact, it's not that mythical Zoan is relatively more, but most of it is concentrated in Celestial Dragon's hands. No matter which kind of fruit is rare in the outside world, and gathered in one place, then it will be very rare in the early stage, but after reaching a certain place, it will be revealed that there are broken roads. Kaido, you actually blew my head off. Unforgivable, unforgivable. Transformed into the form of the 3-headed hell dog, CP General Officer, at this moment roared angrily, I want you to bury this head with me, to dog heads. Mouths open, one that spits out venom. One that spits out flames, make me not have something to vomit. Kaido also transformed into Azure Dragon form, so you are a mythical Zoan, so you can vomit things from your mouth. Azure Dragon Kaido at this moment opened his mouth. Extremely high temperature flames spewed out, clashing with the 3-headed hell dog. Instantly purify the venom, then devouring another flame spewing from its mouth. How can the difference be so big? The 3-headed hell dog was shocked. The flames that flowed back burned his mouth and throat. Then his entire body was devoured by Kaido's flames. In the sea of fire, 2 dogs let out miserable cries. The 3-headed hell dog's body form turned into a skeleton, and eventually even the skeleton disappeared. The invincible level attack power, coupled with the flames above, was enough to purify this CP General Officer, leaving nothing left over from his entire body. The fire slowly receded. Kaido transformed back into human form. Commander-in-Chief. Is it just like that? The crowd was surprised. But Kaido did not stop there, but go to steps. First head, not completely beaten to death by me, Kaido now looked towards the ground. There was clearly nothing on the ground, but when Kaido reached out to grab it, a head returned from invisibility to visible. CP General, the previous one had his head blown off by Kaido. This moment actually exists perfectly without any damage. This head, immediately terrified, how did you find out? He is still alive, he can still hide. How does Kaido know this? His ability was clearly very mysterious, and Sengoku and the others had not discovered this matter either. From the surprised expressions on their faces at this moment, they knew that they had not discovered it, but Kaido had discovered it time and time again. Kaido held this head. Before you, there was a clone that went to sneak attack Cyborg Khan, revealing that you can hide, can clone, can sneak. So I had a stroke of luck. I didn't expect to really have an unexpected harvest. You guess. The CP General Officer could not accept it any more. It is not being understood by the researcher, it is not being seen through by the person, but it is speculation after random guess. My strength is not good, even my luck is so bad. Do you want to tell me, how do the celestial dragons plan to destroy us? Kaido grabbed this head and walked towards Cyborg Khan. Just now when you wanted to leave, didn't you say something, wanting us to prepare to welcome the apocalypse? Come, tell me what that apocalypse is, listen. The CP General immediately shut his mouth and did not say a word. Mouth is still very tough. Kaido looked at Cyborg Khan and said, Khan, why don't you come and talk? As the commander-in-chief of the entire army, you should have some intelligence, right? Cyborg Khan was still very stubborn. He gritted his teeth and said, kill me, pirate, up until now. Still so loyal to the celestial dragons, Kaido was surprised. No matter how the celestial dragons treat me, pirates are clear enemies. I will never cooperate with pirates in my life. Cyborg Khan growled softly, even though he was seriously injured. He was about to die. But it is still as hard as that. No wonder can have such high status. Willpower is strong enough. Kaido nodded. Understood. Pirates are indeed not good things. I respect your firm stance. I will send you on your way safely. Hearing this, Cyborg Khan closed his eyes. He is probably afraid of death, but absolutely not afraid of death at the hands of pirates. Only when he was betrayed by the celestial dragon just now did he panic. Kaido makes his move, branch mission. Deal with a legendary character, completed. The reward has been entered into the book. It can be opened at any time. After that, it was the Knights of the Gods, Gorosei, and Kaido looked at himself holding his head in his hands. You don't say, Kaido asked. CP General, at this moment still very stiff, coldly smiled and said, you let me go, naturally you will know. What you mean is, with you here, the celestial dragons will not be able to resist making a move. Once you leave, the celestial dragons will make a move, Kaido asked. Hearing this, the CP General continued to laugh coldly and said, you're really smart. But don't think about taking me as a hostage. The celestial dragon has a way to kill you and save me if you let me go now. You can die more easily, otherwise you will die in great pain. You really care about me. Kaido said, you are just a dog. How could the celestial dragons come to save you, since you won't talk? Then we will wait together. That is the so-called end of the world. Leading his head, go to Sengoku and the others in front. This moment, Sengoku said, I probably know what the so-called end of the world could be. Kaido was surprised. Sengoku knows that much. Holy Land, Mariejwa. Gorosei, with an ugly expression, looked over the Navy headquarters battlefield image. Been dealt with in a flash and forced to stay. CP has the title of strongest shield of humiliation. Don't mind him. Immediately use that weapon and destroy the Navy headquarters. I agree, Gorosei discussed, looking towards the distant sky. There, in the clouds, circled a very large machine, Vegapunk invented. fire sample can easily destroy an island. They plan to bury everyone in the Navy headquarters, including the island, together. But when Gorosei wanted to give the order to attack, a figure wearing a narrow crown appeared on the throne behind them. "Shut up, sir." Seeing this, Gorosei hurriedly knelt down. Present seems to have new instructions. "Mother, thinking of destroying all humanity." "Calmly open your mouth. You want to destroy all humanity." This order scared the Gorosei. In their mind, the most they have is to enslave all of humanity. Because this world needs countless commoners and ordinary people, only then can the noble celestial dragons stand out. Only then will there be enough slaves and hunting dogs to provide nourishment and support to the celestial dragons. If the world had only celestial dragons left, so the celestial dragon is a slave. So destroying all of humanity is undoubtedly an extremely insane thought, even if it is just enslaving all of humanity, it is actually an extremely difficult thing. The reason is very simple. How to enslave all humanity? Need someone to supervise. Need someone to control the slaves. Who is there to monitor and control? Celestial Dragon. They Gorosei know better than anyone else. The Celestial Dragons are all a gang of trash. Inside, only a very small number of carefully selected elite Celestial Dragons can be considered useful. But that elite point is fundamentally incapable of enslaving all of humanity. The lowest level of Theme Long Non, a trash gang, success or failure is all there is. Simply provide nourishment for them, preserve the creator's bloodline, and hope that some potential creator's descendants can be born from them, and then nurture them. Therefore, to enslave all of humanity, one must rely on outsiders from the heavenly dragons. But all of humanity is enslaved. Is it possible that within slavery, there are still all kinds of differences? So the story goes down. Isn't it like this today, king, noble, commoner? Same today, no different, just playing around. Therefore, from beginning to end, the celestial dragons did not enslave all of humanity. However, recently, as Vegapunk's inventions have become more and more successful, it is showing hope that machines can enslave humanity, and gradually have the ability to enslave all of humanity. But how could Gorosei think of that? Lord M appears, opens his mouth and destroys all humanity, enslave all mankind, directly jump over. What is closed-circuit brain? That's right, these lower-level species are becoming more and more unruly lately. A Gorosei, at this moment, echoed, saying, "Lord M, is it possible for us to find out the reason for the destruction of all humanity?" Speak carefully, very obediently, not daring to question M's will at all. After all, this world is a strict hierarchy. At the front, Gorosei are just dogs. "Because of Kaido," I calmly replied. Hearing this, Gorosei was stunned. They quickly understood the reason. Lord M means humanity already has the potential to threaten the rule of the celestial dragons. No, it is already threatening the rule of the celestial dragons. Kaido's strength has already surpassed the limits of normal humans, which means that the current human race has already undergone some kind of evolution. But Gorosei speculated and asked, until now. As for those outside experts, Lord M is not very concerned. No matter if it's Roger, Whitebeard, or Rox. That year did not cause any special attention from Lord M because they are stronger. There is still a limit. That limit is not enough to threaten the ruling heavenly dragons. Simple to say humanity is too low. Roger, Garp, Whitebeard, Rox. Developing their abilities to the limit of humanity. In front of him they are just ordinary people. Nature also threatened the domination of the heavenly dragons. Lazy pay special attention to them. Gorosei, on the other hand, will pay special attention. It might affect the confiscation of Tenjokin heavenly gold anyway. The Holy Lands group of trash-like celestial dragons only looked at the extravagant and wasteful life of Tenjokin heavenly gold. Everyone's problem of eating, Gorosei still cannot help but care. But now dissimilitude, Kaido appeared, completely breaking the past perception. Humanity's limit, a major breakthrough. Garp, Roger's strength is no longer the limit of humanity. The highest level of humanity rushed to a large area, but this breaks the highest limit. According to him, enough to influence the ruling celestial dragons. And then a breakthrough of the highest limit of humanity. Kaido appeared. Who can guarantee that a second, third, or fourth will not appear? Won't the celestial dragons be overthrown sooner or later? Therefore, to ensure that the celestial dragons can continue to rule for a long time, must definitely kill this one with the greatest potential, which is in front of all humanity, that Kaido guy. Has proven the danger of humans. These low-level species are also of the same type as potential host creation. Truly a threat, that's right. The highest limit is no longer Rux, Roger, Whitebeard. Even daring to approach a potential host, this is an offense to the gods. Divine punishment must be sent down. The Creator created everything, also created mankind, gave mankind life, to serve the Creator's descendants. But mankind is so rebellious, this is a heinous crime. All humanity must be destroyed. Vegapunk on the other side should have a full range of human embryos. Kill all humans and recreate a bit of gentle, obedient humans. Gorosei opened their mouths one after another, asking him to continue. Him stood up and left. Gorosei wiped the sweat from their foreheads, stood up and looked at each other. Then, all looked to the horizon. Start the fire sample. Gorosei ordered. The fire seed, circling above the Navy headquarters, was a huge shadow that covered the sky. Navy headquarters. Just now Sengoku said. He probably knows what the so-called apocalypse route is. Kaido grabbed the CP commander's head, waiting for Sengoku to give a definite answer. Garp, Whitebeard, Aokiji, Kizaru, they all reacted. But the loud noise distracted everyone's attention. That is the battlefield all around, still fighting each other. Ordinary Navy and pirates also do not know the transaction here. They are still on different positions, killing each other. Sengoku and Whitebeard could not help but go through war negotiations. Then, at everyone's doubt, Manso looked at him suspiciously. Whitebeard and Sengoku announced that the pirates and the Navy had officially reached an agreement, becoming allies. Those willing to stay and follow, those unwilling to follow, should now leave. Like a bolt from the blue, all the Marines and pirates who heard this were shocked to the extreme, wondering if they were dreaming. Whitebeard and Marshal Sengoku not only ceasefire, but also cooperate. The Navy turned into pirates. Am I crazy, or is the Marshal crazy? The Navy was in an uproar. Who would have thought it could be like this? Navy and pirates, you die. I live half a day, suddenly declare alliance. The Navy rebelled and became pirates. What a joke. Pirates, on the other hand, were equally terrified. They looked over to the side, who had just been desperately fighting to kill the Navy, and for a moment they didn't know what to do. Have you hit or not? What is the situation? The world changes too fast. There is not a single point of defense. Also, do not consider people's small hearts can bear it or not. Will you be me in the future? A pirate from the Whitebeard pirates looked at his own sword and stabbed it into the Navy's stomach. Just now, everyone was still enemies. He wanted to kill this Navy with one sword. But the sword stabbed in and declared the Navy and pirates an alliance. This person was stabbed by a naval knife and was unconscious. He did not know what to do. Then, the pirate, as if shocked by electricity, quickly let go of his hand, with an innocent and nervous expression, roared, "Ship doctor! There are injured people here. It wasn't me who did it. I didn't hurt my comrades. Everywhere on the battlefield, because of the sudden change in position, was in chaos. War, just like that, it almost ended. Kaido on this side took advantage of the time when Sengoku and Whitebeard went to negotiate the war. Finally have time. Check what my branch mission reward is." "Open branch quest reward," Kaido said expectantly. Kaido completed the branch missions, but has yet to receive his rewards. This moment received is the reward of killing a General Branch mission, although he has not received it yet. He knows that the reward is definitely better than killing 7 Warlords of the Sea. Kill the 7 Warlords of the Sea and receive a devil fruit of your choice as a reward. Kaido is very much looking forward to the content of this reward. Dazzling purple light bloomed, and rewards were displayed. Obtain special ability, reflect damage, Devil Fruit Hole Plus. Devil Fruit Gift Wrap X, but choose any Devil Fruit. Devil Fruit Evolution Card X can instantly develop any Devil Fruit to its limit. Another inlaid hole is added, indicating that Kaido can become 3 Power Fruit users. But this is actually not important, just like Garp is the strongest without a fruit. The increase in strength from a Devil Fruit is actually not that great, unless one has special abilities, such as the Yami Yami no Mi. What the 3rd fruit is, Kaido has not thought of it yet. Planning to keep it for now, wait until he finds something special, especially powerful Devil Fruit, and reuse it, in any case, whether he eats it or not. It is unclear how it will increase his strength. Devil Fruit Evolution Card, considered to solve a big problem, is to eat Devil Fruit but develop difficult, now can be a step in the right place. Kaido also planned to keep it for now, later when needed to give Nick a fruit to use, or other special fruit. The most important, without a doubt, is the special ability, Reflect Damage. Kaido considers effective capacity, reflective damage. Damage is not higher than self-defense when % reflective damage. When damage exceeds self-defense, % damage is reflected. This time more meat, Kaido was amazed. Can't think of a reward system, 1 time more rich, even extravagant. Continue to receive rewards. Kill a legendary character for a branch mission reward. Obtain special ability, Absorption, Devil Fruit Hole Plus. Devil Fruit Gift Pack X, but choose 1 Devil Fruit at will. Devil Fruit Evolution Card X. Can instantly develop any Devil Fruit to its limit. Choose any Ancient Weapon X. The rewards for handling legendary characters are even more abundant than those for dropping generals. Devil Fruit type rewards do not vary much, just evolve Karuto for 1. Specific capabilities are more important, consider effectiveness. Absorb, the opponent's attack power is weaker than yours, but absorbs % of the opponent's life force and energy. The opponent's attack power is stronger than yours, but absorbs % of the opponent's life force and energy. All of the opponent's attacks, moves, fruit abilities, etc. are considered energy, but are absorbed. Absorb life force and energy can be used to replenish oneself, if at peak state. Then no longer replenish oneself, will be dissipated. Same type as Red Count plus S version. Kaido was surprised. Red Count, also a member of the Pirate King's worldview, has never appeared in the manga, but in the game. He possesses the mythical Zoan model, Vampire Devil Fruit. Can absorb other people's fresh blood method to absorb his human life. To let himself turn back to youth, even ability will be restored to peak. Once fought with the current Navy Marshal Cyborg Khan, and also defeated Cyborg Khan. Kaido now has a special ability to absorb, similar to Red Count's ability. It can also absorb the life force of humans. But the effect is even better, compared to one's own attack power is weaker. Can absorb %, isn't this directly sucking the person to death, equivalent to instant kill? Furthermore, it can also absorb the opponent's energy, and the opponent's moves will be sucked away by Kaido, which is a bit like the Yami Yami no Mi fruit's ability. Absorption can be roughly understood, Vampire Fruit plus Yami Yami no Mi. Strengthen it a little more, it is that effective. Legendary characters are indeed heavy, the rewards for killing them are too rich. Kaido could not help but sigh. After receiving the 2 rewards, Kaido received an extremely terrifying enhancement. The key is that the reward is not considered, whatever choose an ancient weapon. Uranus, Neptune, Hades, the Heavenly King did not know, but hearing the name he knew it was some kind of flying vehicle, probably for aerial combat. The Sea King can summon countless Sea Kings, and those Sea Kings are not small in size. Each Sea King summoned by the Sea King is much larger than an island. The King of Hell is a super battleship that can destroy an island with one cannon. The world government even believes that achieving Hades can end the Great Pirate Era. In Kaido's occupation of Wano, there is a hidden existence of Hades. However, it is probably just an incomplete or damaged report. Normally, in the future, Hades will probably be rebuilt through Frankie's construction blueprints. But this is okay, Kaido can now wear one. Directly available, but come next reward inside, surely will still give comfortable choice opportunity. So these ancient weapons, Kaido actually doesn't need to find any. All rewards have been received. Kaido's consciousness also returned to reality from the system. At this moment, seeing the Navy and pirates, they all put down their weapons. Whether the two sides are willing to form an alliance or not, at least there will be no more conflicts. Many people were confused and flustered, looking at Sengoku, Whitebeard, and the other key figures in this war. What were the big shots talking about? Why did they suddenly cooperate and stop attacking each other? The Navy has the highest combat power in the group. Why did they choose to rebel and join the pirates? Countless problems make people very dreamy, not get the answer. But now is obviously not the time to answer their questions. Sengoku returned to Kaido's place, continuing the topic from just now. What exactly is the so-called apocalypse? Kaido asked once again. Sengoku also gave a reply, saying, "That is a piece of information I once accidentally obtained, which should have been kept secret, and would not have been known to me. That is a huge airborne weapon made by Vegapunk. According to the intelligence, it can theoretically destroy an island, or even a kingdom in one fell swoop. The celestial dragon wants to use this weapon," Kaido asked roughly. Sengoku gave an analysis, saying, after that weapon was created, it was never used. This type of weapon, according to the description, can be compared to ancient weapons. Gorosei must have wanted to find an opportunity to test its power. I think there is no more suitable time than now. Understood, Kaido slowly nodded. Fire seed model, Kaido really doesn't know, because at the time he transmigrated, this thing had not yet been revealed. There was no such thing in God's vision, only the local pirate king who had great power would know. And Kaido in the hand was captured CP General Officer. This head also made an angry sound. Sengoku, you now really look like a dog beside Kaido. How do you deserve your decades of life in the Navy? Being a pirate dog, seeing him in such a hurry, Kaido confirmed that Sengoku was right. If not, this guy wouldn't be in such a hurry. I used to be nothing more than a dog of the heavenly dragon man. Sengoku, on the other hand, thought it through and said nothing. Who is it that makes a dog? There is hope for world peace. Even if it is a pirate, it doesn't matter. Kaido in front of the celestial dragons, nothing counts. CP General, at this moment coldly laughed. The celestial dragons have definitely sent people to save me. By then you will know how much Kaido cannot withstand a single blow. You guys save me. You guys just wait. Welcome the disaster that the Mother Fire Seed created. Ha ha ha. Kaido ignored him. This guy was completely crazy. He actually felt that he was very important in the eyes of the celestial dragons. One more moment, Kaido raised his head to look at the sky. The others also raised their heads to look back. Only saw a giant shadow, appearing and disappearing in the clouds, covering the entire Navy headquarters in the sky. The fire seed has arrived. Sengoku suddenly opened his mouth. The fire seed in the clouds covered the Navy headquarters and the surrounding sea area. Like an island in the sky, a kingdom in the sky, no warm-up, also feel very oppressive. Around the Navy and pirates also discovered the incident in the sky. What is that ghost? A Skypia in the sky. Even bigger than the Navy headquarters, although I don't know what it is. I can smell danger. No way. This is the reason for the Navy and pirates to cooperate. All around the bustling sound rose up on all sides. Aokiji at this moment raised his head to look at the sky. His expression also moved. With such a large-scale weapon, why don't we retreat? Aokiji asked. Knowing such a terrifying weapon was coming, yet he didn't choose to run away. Hearing that, Sengoku shook his head. There is no way to retreat. It will be difficult for us to escape the range of the fire seed. If we stay at the Navy headquarters, we still have a foothold. But at sea we will all drown. If we face it head-on, we might still have a chance to survive. The fire species coverage area is too large. If running away was the wise choice, Sengoku would have declared his retreat long ago. There is hope of survival. Mr. Sengoku, does this mean that we might not survive? Kizaru asked. What weapon? Can these people with such terrifying fighting power just have hope of survival? Not to mention anything else, can't Whitebeard's Guragura no Mi handle that weapon in the sky? Sengoku's expression was solemn as he said, this is the inner workings of the celestial dragons. We are stronger, but we are just humans, and humans have limits. However, these weapons, these scientific inventions, they have no limits, and even if they did, their limits far exceed those of humans. This is the reason why the heavenly dragon people do not dare to resist. People's weapons are so terrifying, how can they resist the celestial dragon? At this moment, Whitebeard condensed the earthquake force. I will shatter it. Sengoku slowly nodded. There was indeed nothing, compared to Whitebeard's strength. It was more suitable to fight against that mother fire in the sky. Aokiji's hands also felt a little cold, wanting to taste the frozen weapon in the sky. You don't want to make a move. Let me come. Kaido interrupted their movements. Didn't we just say that the Mother Fire Seed can destroy an island or even a kingdom? Once it activates, we won't have a second chance to deal with it, so I plan to directly use all my strength. I don't want to affect you guys. You guys retreat. Listen, everyone looked back in surprise. Kaido, you want me to fight it. You still haven't used your full strength until now. People react differently, especially when they heard that Kaido was just now using his full strength. It was simply a bit unacceptable. It turns out that the people who were beaten up earlier were just a small part of Kaido's force. Everyone is just in between the differences. Is it really that big? Kaido, take care. Sengoku and the others confirmed that Kaido was not joking, and then retreated. Kaido led the CP general officer in a vacant lot, alone looking up at the fire seed. Afterward, Kaido picked up the head in his hand and asked, do you understand the fire seed model? Tell me a little, but this head, at this moment, is deeply sunk and collapsed inside. He couldn't believe it. Gorosei didn't plan to save him, directly activating the mother fire seed, wanting to destroy him together. He did so many things for Thien Long Nan without saying anything. Because of his great achievements, he was promoted to become a celestial dragon. It was precisely this identity of the celestial dragon that made the CP chief, from the beginning until now, extremely certain that someone would come to save him. Because I am not a black person, but is the noble celestial dragon. Even if the pair is broken and classified as a celestial dragon, isn't that still a celestial dragon? Result. Gorosei, give up on this celestial dragon. You can imagine how devastated he is at this moment. All the contributions, status, in the end, just became a laughing stock. Kaido shook his head a few times, also gave him a hand, to make him sober up a bit, to answer his question. The mouthful of teeth was knocked out by the hand. Tears could not be stopped from falling. The CP general officer was still immersed in collapse. Why is this happening? I am clearly also a celestial dragon. Why did you abandon me? You are just a dog. Of course I will let you go. The celestial dragons are just a pack of dogs. You are all just slaves, Kaido said. Who are you? The CP general officer, after hearing this name, was stunned. What a familiar name. It seems to be one of the 20 kings 800 years ago. What are you talking about this name for? This question, on the contrary, brought Kaido to ask. He doesn't know him exists. Same thing. It was as if only Gorosei knew him existed. In the eyes of others, the supreme authority was Gorosei. There was no one above him, except for the Gorosei. The outside world is also unclear. That calm throne which represents mutual equality and never dictatorship actually has someone sitting on it. Answer my question. How much do you understand about the fire seed? Kaido ignored the other party's question and continued to question, mentioning the fire seed. The CP General Officer collapsed once again. I am clearly also a celestial dragon. Why did I directly activate the fire seed? I am a noble celestial dragon. How could I be betrayed? Only Khan, a commoner of human origin, would be betrayed and abandoned. No matter what, I would ... double quotes. Speaking, the CP General Officer had a runny nose and tears streaming down his face. Go away. Kaido threw his head, and the wolf tooth club sent him flying. Falling at Sengoku's side, the meaning is obviously for them to look after this person. Asked for half a day, nothing said. Just their cooperating, crying, if not kill him then the system will not reward. Plus he is CP General Officer, knows a lot of things. Later it is worth interrogating. Kaido will completely crush him. This moment, everyone's eyes were looking at the phantom in the sky. Although it had not started yet, an uneasy atmosphere had already permeated every corner. Many people's eyes were unable to control themselves and were about to jump out of their skin. Some people were already breathing heavily, giving rise to a feeling of suffocation. Let's go. The fire sample received the final command. The high temperature in the mother fire seed condensed. In the gloomy clouds above, immediately countless beams of light fell down. Kaido Kenban Shokuhaki instantly predicts the future. The beam of light fell down, forming a large-scale explosion that wiped out the Navy headquarters and the surrounding sea area. Wiping out the island from the sea surface was evaporated to the point where the water level dropped. Countless people were annihilated in this explosion, not even having the time to react. Even Sengoku and the others could not withstand this attack, and died completely. Here it is, I predict ... I die. Sengoku and the others, at this moment Kenban Shokuhaki was also taking effect. And they all predicted the future. They saw their own death, but had no power to stop it. Countless people with Kenban Shokuhaki also vaguely sensed extreme danger, smelled death. Even if it is not Kenban Shokuhaki people, also after the beam of light appears, instinctively a feeling of fear appears. The great fire dragon torch, the dragon, fire and 8 trigrams. Kaido created a giant fire dragon head to block the beams of light falling from the sky. Fire dragon head from Heioshoku covered, collided towards the sky-high mother fire seed. Although they believed in the power of the mother fire seed, they did not know clearly what Kaido's current abilities were. So even though they believed that the mother fire seed had a near 100% chance of destroying everything, there was also a slight risk of an unexpected event. They looked nervously. Ahead of the change, the power of the mother fire seed, in theory, can be compared to ancient weapons. This is not a power that any human can stop, unless it is us, who have the bloodline of the Creator's descendants. Then we have that potential. That's right, Kaido's actions, from beginning to end, are a death wish. He will be counted with the Navy, pirates. All solved together, the world will welcome a new era. Gorosei group, this moment chattered. They said these things simply to encourage themselves, to eliminate the possibility of the mother fire being destroyed. Navy headquarters, Sengoku and the others also looked over nervously. They had just predicted that no matter what method their group used, they would not be able to escape being dealt with. Right now, the only hope was Kaido. But Kaido and the fire seed that was about to be born collided. They had no way to predict the future. It was a chaos that they could not see at all. As for the normal Navy and pirates, they didn't even have time to react. At this moment, although they saw the fire dragon appear, their minds were blank and they couldn't react to the changes. Kaido Heioshoku covered the fire dragon's head, and a streak of light collided. In the blink of an eye, Kaido's special ability absorption began to take effect. This beam of light forced all the energy contained within it to be absorbed by Kaido. This meant that although the Mother Fire Seed was powerful, its attack power had not yet reached the invincible level, and was absorbed by percent. A streak of light just like that suddenly extinguished, receiving. The other beams of light still fell on Kaido's fire dragon's body, but the beams of light were too fast. He still couldn't attack them all. He could only let the fire dragon fight hard. The only thing that could be done was to cover the entire fire dragon with haki. The beam of light fell on the fire dragon's body, and Kaido received another ability from the system. Damage reflection began to take effect. Kaido's defensive power is King level X. The Fire Seed's destructive power is obviously much greater than this defensive power. Otherwise it wouldn't be to the point where Sengoku and the others couldn't bear it. So, it's not a complete damage, but a percent damage. A part of the damage force goes back to the Mother Fire Seed. The main one who was injured was still Kaido Fire Dragon. The beam of light above formed a large-scale explosion. The sky was completely covered in explosions, as if dark clouds were approaching. There was also a deafening explosion. Many people were shocked by the sound and had splitting headaches, and even fainted on the spot. Kaido created the Fire Dragon. Even though it was covered in haki, it began to disintegrate. Can't stop, Kaido was immediately startled. Currently, although the Fire Dragon blocked the light and explosion in the sky, once the Fire Dragon was destroyed, the beam of light would come down, forming a second round of explosions. The outcome would still not change. Kaido is indeed not ordinary. Even though he could only stop him for a while, he is still worthy of pride. His Fire Dragon wants to disintegrate. All must die. Gorosei Group, calm down. Already saw Fire Dragon has collapsed disintegration trend, but the Fire Seed beam still has full energy. They were no longer nervous, but were chatting happily. The atmosphere was cheerful. Sengoku and his men became more nervous. Kaido can't stop it either. Everyone must die. Even if Kaido has power that surpasses the limits of humanity, the outcome of resisting the heavenly dragons is still difficult to change, right? That's right, 800 years of rule. Where is it so simple to say it's not invincible enough? Enough to make people despair. Even a regional country can only rule for 2 to 300 years at most, let alone the heavenly dragons ruling the entire world for 800 years. The crowd suddenly all had, waiting to die prepared. Consider the creation of the second fire dragon to be a waste. Kaido quickly judged, therefore, we cannot defend alone. We must take the initiative to attack. Rising Dragon, 8 trigrams of fire. Although the fire dragon was gradually disintegrating, its head was completely unharmed because it had just absorbed a streak of light. It could now head straight towards the Mother Fire Seed without being hindered. Want to attack the Mother Fire Seed before the fire dragon completely disintegrates. This way, one can rely on one's own invincible level attack power, plus the above absorption, to create destructive damage to the Mother Fire Seed. Fire Dragon Head approaches the clouds. The damage just now was reversed and finally followed the beam of light, and was transmitted back to the Mother Fire Seed above, although only percent of damage. Bang! Above the clouds, a suffocating and violent sound resounded. All the beams of light were affected. The energy supply was no longer continuous. The beams of light flickered like a short circuit. But very regrettably, the percent of reflected damage was not enough to destroy the Fire Seed. Not even enough to interrupt its energy. But there is also good news. The lack of energy to delay the Fire Dragon's disintegration trend can persist for a while longer. What happened to the fire model? Energy supply effects, isn't it because it's strong? Such a large-scale lethal weapon, shouldn't it have strong defenses? Gorosei Group once again nervously. But the result should not change. The energy to destroy Kaido Fire Dragon is still more than enough, still enough to destroy everyone. They comforted themselves. Look closely at the image. Kaido is still struggling, so what if it can be considered an attack on the Mother Fire Seed? The Mother Fire Seed is extremely tough, no matter how much damage it can cause. No matter how sturdy it is, Kaido attacking the Mother Fire Seed's main body is just a waste of effort. Gorosei continued to analyze, feeling more and more comforted. They waited for their analysis to be verified. Navy headquarters, in the sky. Haki covered the fire dragon's head and finally persisted before the fire dragon disintegrated, hitting the Mother Fire Seed. Kaido's invincible attack power immediately caused the fire seed to shake violently, emitting the sound of machinery and components shattering. Then, it was obvious that a weapon station, the absorption ability, was still in effect. The internal energy of the fire sample was absorbed almost completely in an instant, percent absorbed. All the light forced a blink of an eye completely disappeared, just like the entire power was cut off. The life force of the Mother Fire Seed was also being absorbed. It crackled and vibrated. Then all the components appeared to be aging and losing their luster. Finally, with a loud bang, the Mother Fire Seed collapsed on the spot. Kaido, using both powerful attack power and absorbed ability, lost the Fire Seed. This is impossible. The Gorosei all stared, their eyes bulging, their mouths wide open, and snot running from their nostrils. This is the theory of comparing ancient weapons with powerful weapons. How could it be destroyed by Kaido with a single collision of his dragon head? These are the descendants of the Creator. All have no potential. Kaido's potential will not be the same as the host. Even transcendent host creation, just thinking about it. This possibility is a huge offense to the Creator and the celestial dragons, but the fact that such a possibility exists, otherwise how can Kaido's current behavior be explained? Silence. What should we do now? Gorosei panicked. They all turned around. But on that Kong throne, there was no sign of him. And did not choose to appear in front of this truth. It seemed that because of this matter he was affected, the Fire Seed destroyed. Sengoku, Garp, Whitebeard, Aokiji, Kizaru, their Kenban Shoku Haki was relatively strong, and they had time to react, but at this moment, they were all frozen, shocked to the extreme. Destroying the Mother Fire Seed was already a miracle. They had predicted that using all their means to stop it would not be able to do so, let alone destroy it. But Kaido was not just a miracle. He completely destroyed the Mother Fire Seed with one move. This was a miracle within miracles. Choosing to follow Kaido, now it seems like a very wise thing to do. The rule of the celestial dragons is indeed dangerous. Then the normal pirates and marines all regained their composure and were equally shocked. Although they didn't know what was in the sky. But just now the explosion on the fire dragon's body caused the sky to change color, the explosive aftershocks, the air waves. The temperature and the fierce roar were enough to make people realize that it was a very destructive weapon, and now it was resolved by Kaido with one move, an extremely miraculous thing. It was too beautiful. Far away, I feel that the plan to rob old Dad of his fruit is too risky. Let's change target and run away. Blackbeard was similarly stunned. After calming down, he looked towards his crew. Old Man and that Kaido guy are working together. With Kaido around, there's no way they can succeed. Just now the Fire Seed appeared. Blackbeard was far away. Everyone thought he was dead for sure, far away on the sea. Red Hair and his crew, looking at the destroyed Mother Fire in the sky, also fell into shock and silence. Kaido, this is human category strength. I plan to go over and stop this war. Now it looks like a joke. Navy headquarters. The Fire Seed turned into countless fragments that fell from the sky. On the sea surface threw out countless foam. Amidst the bustling sound of water bubbles, Kaido slowly landed on the ground. Kaido, how did you do it? Sengoku at this moment came. Could hardly believe said, this is using miracle. All cannot describe the result. The group arrived, looking at the monster, assessing Kaido. Even these monsters, they all feel Kaido is a monster. CP General, at this moment being held in Sengoku's hands, was scared to the point of losing consciousness. Destroying the Mother Fire Seed, this overturned all his understanding. He was actually forced into the hands of this monster. His entire position collapsed. It seems that the celestial dragons will temporarily have no backup. Kaido looked towards the horizon and said, "Destroy their extremely confident trump card. They will have to think carefully before making another move. This gives us time to develop. We should also start working." "I have a plan." "What plan?" Sengoku asked. Everyone's eyes fell on Kaido. Kaido said, "First inform the whole world. The Navy and pirates form an alliance. Prepare to resist the world government's plan. Then gather all the four emperors, the revolutionary army, pirates and potential civilians. Gather enough forces, and declare a full-scale war on the world government. Red Hair, Charlotte Len, Monkey D. Dragon, Hades Rayleigh. There are also Fujitora and the others who have not been conscripted yet. All that can be summoned, want to gather the world's forces." Sengoku was listening to this plan later, also could not help but be surprised. The four emperors, each with their own different stances. Even though they were all pirates, they were not united, which was already very difficult to gather. Still want to gather revolutionary army, still want to gather common people. Kaido's handwriting seems a bit big ... but thinking back, he has the ability to do this. Sengoku has begun to look forward to the whole world's resistance against the celestial dragons. Restore phone with duplicate image. Sengoku ordered the Marines beside him. This Navy man was stunned for a moment, then quickly found his duplicate phone and restored the cut-off image. Sponge Islands. This place has 3 big screens, live broadcast of the summit battle. The news will also spread all over the world from here. However, the image has been broken for a long time. The crowd was also noisy and disappointed because of the photo. The group of supernovas gathered here were also depressed and bored. Suddenly, someone was overjoyed and shouted loudly. Image restored. Everyone shivered under, startled. How did the war end? In the end, will the pirates win or will the Navy win? Does that even need to be said? Of course the Navy won. The Navy has so many top-notch combat forces. Besides the 3 great generals, there's also Marshal Sengoku and the hero Garp. I can't figure out why the Navy lost. That's right. Garp the hero sits in charge. The pirate leader wins. Their winning percentage is less than 1%. Ace is in extreme pain, right? Whitebeard and Kaido, probably both beheaded, right? The image flashed twice. Sengoku's figure appeared in 3 blocks on the large screen. Marshal Sengoku is fine. I will say, the final winner will be the Navy. The foam islands were filled with cheers. Supernova Group, this moment shook their heads. Looks like Whitebeard and Kaido lost. What a pity, losing to guys who can kill and establish prestige. Now, only by killing Red Hair or Big Mom can we immediately become famous. In other words, it will be easier for us to become the 4 emperors without these 2 obstacles. The Supernova Group in the language towards the 4 emperors snorted in disdain. Sengoku held the duplicate phone in his hand, confirming that the transmitted voice was correct. There is an important matter that must be announced to the whole world. Sengoku said, Navy Headquarters, with Marshal Sengoku, General Aokiji, General Kizaru, Lieutenant General Garp as representatives, officially declare the alliance with Whitebeard and Kaido. The war is over. See phone people, smiles condensed on the face. Not declaring war victory. The Navy and pirates have formed an alliance. This is to beyond comprehension, right? How could there be such a result compared to throwing coins? It is not positive or negative, but in the middle, the probability is lower. Who would want to get it? Hey, just now it was you die I live. How come we're forming an alliance? Fighting for decades and suddenly forming an alliance. What a joke. Is this a naval conspiracy? Supernova Group also dream. This moment all kinds of conspiracy theory conjecture. The reporters below were terrified and ecstatic. This is how explosive the news is. The sales benefit it will bring is much greater than the execution of Ace and the killing of Whitebeard. Sengoku continued speaking, saying, I, representing the Navy headquarters, officially declare my withdrawal from the world government. I also declare war on the world government. Mainly the world government is too ungrateful. Cyborg Kong was so loyal, but was abandoned by the celestial dragons. Sengoku and the others were also planning to be erased at any time, so both emotionally and logically they should rebel. What? The Foam Island crowd widened their eyes even more. The Navy has turned traitor and declared war on the world government. I just thought that the so-called alliance was Whitebeard and Kaido surrendering, joining the Navy or the world government list. Who would have thought it would be the opposite? Protecting the civilians' Navy, but joined the pirate camp. The group's highest fighting power is crazy. Done. This time is there anyone who can protect the common people? The world is completely in the hands of criminals. A feeling of fear spread. Sengoku and his men did not rebel. When the Navy had great fighting power, countless people were attacked and harassed by pirates. Now that the Navy is gone, one can imagine how hellish life will be in the future. Is it my ears that have a problem? Or is it my mind that has a problem? The supernova looked towards his crew, incredulously asking. Other supernovae are not much worse. No one is not shocked. King Rayleigh, also crazy. He often saw storms, conquered the Grand Line with Roger, knew everything, had extensive knowledge, had long been unmoved, and now was also shocked. Once on the sea with them you live and die Navy. Also rebelled and became pirate one day. The world is about to change. ... double quotes. Rayleigh muttered to himself, large screen. Sengoku continued speaking, saying, in order to overthrow the heavenly dragons, who have continued their 800 years of evil rule over the world, we are conscripting soldiers here to call on more people to come out into the streets, break free from their shackles, and join the ranks of those who have overthrown the heavenly dragons. No matter how powerful the heavenly dragons are, as long as everyone unites, they will definitely be able to win. The image of the Nadi, Kaido, appeared in the photo and said, there must be very few people who haven't been oppressed by nobles, Shichibukoi, or celestial dragons. Of course, it's possible that more people who received injuries were from pirates. So to show my sincerity, I hereby call for goods from all pirates in the world. You have all committed more or less crimes. Now I give you a chance to atone for your sins. Join me. Join the resistance against the heavenly dragons and humans. The specified date is 10 days. 10 days, no matter what method you use to join. 10 days later, I will initiate a worldwide campaign to eradicate all pirate activity. Peace the entire pirate world. I will personally end the Great Pirate Era. Then use this sincerity to call upon the entire world to join the struggle to overthrow the heavenly dragons. Everyone was scared stiff. Sengoku and the others were also stunned. Ending the Great Pirate Era, Kaido had not mentioned it just now. They also just knew about this plan. However, if it was Kaido, he really had the ability to draw a dot for the Great Pirate Era. The end of the Great Pirate Era. The Marines at the scene looked over in shock. Could it be that the Sengoku Marshal and the pirates formed an alliance because of this? Kaido is no longer the known brutal pirate. He has become kind. I was originally planning to wait until the war ended before running away, so that I wouldn't have to form an alliance with the pirates. Now, I'm a bit hesitant. I knew that the Marshal, Hero, and General's stances could not possibly be so unsteady. I am moved by the goal of this alliance. If it can really end the Great Pirate Era, then no matter what Kaido did in the past, I would not hesitate to join him and overthrow that bunch of trash from the heavenly dragons. Before, I felt that even if the celestial dragons were rotten, they would still be stronger than pirates. Now, it seems that the celestial dragons and nobles are the last straw. We must completely destroy them. The naval position is changing widely. The pirate apocalypse has come. What will happen to us then? Let's go ... Revolutionary Army. Then a pirate for so long, and suddenly you tell me I can't be a pirate ... Double quotes. Never mind. Following my father is not wrong. That's right. Old Father has no ability to harm us. Since Old Father has joined, it shows that this is the right choice. Following Old Father will be the end of it. The pirate group also received very quickly. Sponge Islands, Kaido is crazy, ending the Great Pirate Era. Even he is worthy. The Supernova group was shocked again. Then they all expressed their dissatisfaction. Who does this guy think he is, praising such a low-class place? Join him, ridiculous. I'll continue to rob, continue to commit crimes. I'll see what he can do to me. Supernova group are full of arrogance. The common people, shocked moment, fell into silence. Is Kaido telling the truth? Does he really want to end the Great Pirate Era? Must be a lie. It's been so many years. Pirates will only increase. There is no end to the trend. He also does not have the ability to end. It's only been 10 days anyway. Let's see then. If it really ends ... Even though I'm nothing, I still want to push out the heavenly dragons ... After all, not long ago, there was a group of heavenly dragons who came to the Sponge Island to do whatever they wanted. It makes me sick to see them. Everyone was arguing loudly, not knowing what to do. It is unclear whether or not to trust a cruel pirate. Navy headquarters. Kaido finished speaking and put the phone down. Kaido, are you sure you can end the Great Pirate Era? Sengoku asked. Get rid of the top, most famous ones. The remaining miscellaneous ones are easy to deal with. Kaido said, in fact, as long as the 4 emperors unite, the Great Pirate Era will be over at least 1%. Now that the Navy has united, in my eyes, the Great Pirate Era has ended. The only thing left is to make a move. It's like this principle. Sengoku was a little dizzy, previously never thought of ending the Great Pirate Era. This matter, leading to this concept in the mind, was already struck with the mark of impossible. Now with a simple analysis, discovered is not so difficult. Of course, it was mainly because Kaido had crushed everyone's strength that he was able to let this matter be revealed so easily. For others, even Whitebeard would be a distant dream. He would not have been able to unite the 4 emperors, nor would he have been able to attract the Navy, Kaido declared, immediately transmitting to the whole world. Of course, not everyone can be united. Kaido, looking in a certain direction, Blackbeard, don't run, come back. In order to show my sincerity in ending the Great Pirate Era, I plan to kill you, to prove it to the whole world. Come back quickly, Blackbeard. Whitebeard's face darkened as he looked back at the sea. Blackbeard, Sengoku, and the others all looked back. Actually, discovering Blackbeard was not difficult. It was just that just now my attention was not there. Kaido has divine vision and knows Blackbeard is nearby, so he is even more attentive in observing. Blackbeard and his group stole the warship and escaped, but at this moment they were locked onto everyone's gazes. There was also the Blackbeard pirate Sanyuan Volf, whose giant body was almost half above the water, like a mountain. Teach, is he here? The Whitebeard pirates all looked back with hatred. Today's tragic death toll was so heavy, all because Blackbeard sent Ace to prison in exchange for the position of the 7 warlords of the sea, and Blackbeard also killed his comrades. The Navy also hated Blackbeard. He was a Shichibukoi. He had completely disappeared during the war, and now he was still sneaking around. Just looking at it, there was a big problem. For a moment, all was disgust and hatred towards Blackbeard's gaze. His actions had made him the target of attack. Oh no, Kaido found out. On the warship, Blackbeard was terrified. Blackbeard was also very panicked, said, "Speed up quickly. Quickly leave this sea area. Why is Kaido not attack us? It's like he has a grudge against us." Blackbeard and a group of people were confused, clearly summoning the whole world to join in, giving all pirates 10 days to decide. It's Blackbeard's turn, and you want to deal with it directly. He and Whitebeard are allies, but we are enemies now. Blackbeard's head was full of sweat. This guy, remember, he wasn't this strong before. How come he's become so exaggerated now? The warship moved forward at full speed. Navy headquarters, Teach, Whitebeard faced the sea. His two hands tearing the air, go back, has led to huge sea turbulence. The sea surface rolled, then the stormy sea carried Blackbeard's warship back like a fallen leaf. The boat shook greatly, and Blackbeard and his group rolled around on top. The old man is angry. Blackbeard was horrified. Damn Guragura no Mi, it was clear that Whitebeard would probably lose and die in this war. I could have taken away his Guragura no Mi. Damn, the situation actually developed into this. Whitebeard was old and weak, but he was the one with the highest fighting power, marine aspect, Sengoku. Garp, 3 admirals, Hawkeye, 6 great top combat forces. Whitebeard is immortal. Who died? Kaido's joining was actually just a very small variable, from 6 against changing to 6 against 2. Who could have thought the result would turn out like this? The giant Blackbeard pirate crew reached out to capture the warship. His whole body was frozen. This caused the Blackbeard pirates to fall into despair, being quickly pushed by the turbulent sea to the Navy headquarters. Colliding on the wall, the ship was shaken again. The group fell face down, then stabilized. Seeing that the boat was no longer rocking, Blackbeard and the others stood up, but as soon as they stood up, they looked at each other with Whitebeard. Whitebeard stood up and surrounded the wall, observing the deck of Blackbeard's warship below. Around there were also Ace, Marco and the others surrounding, but everyone knows. Behind Whitebeard is the Navy with the highest fighting power, along with that monster Kaido. Surrounded by this kind of body, the Blackbeard pirates all had their eyes wide open. Teach. Whitebeard opened his mouth. Hearing this sound, Blackbeard's expression immediately changed. He cried, "Old father, let me go. I was just momentarily confused. I am your son," unexpectedly. Whitebeard really changed. Even though Blackbeard killed his comrades, this does not mean that Whitebeard can be so cruel as to kill his precious family members with his own hands. Even if they are just traitors, spare him, Whitebeard. Kaido appeared beside him. Your personality is that you won't be so cruel as to make things difficult for yourself. Whitebeard was surprised. Then silently nodded. The most unexpected and surprising thing was that Blackbeard and Whitebeard spared him, and Kaido was there to persuade him. The two Yonko want to protect themselves. I am indeed the son of heaven. In the future I can rule the entire world. Then I won't bother you. I'll go first. Blackbeard was delighted. He was released just like that. Then looked at his companion. Steer the boat. Quickly steer the boat. We are leaving. Teach, old man, you can't let him go. Teach hurt Ace and killed his comrades. Let him go. It will become a big disaster. The Whitebeard pirates were also unwilling to let Blackbeard go, so they hurriedly stopped in. Ace is also desperately trying to convince Whitebeard. Hearing that, Blackbeard angrily roared, "Old father, let me go. I am still old father's good son." "You want to kill your comrades?" Countless people stared in amazement. He instead criticized others for wanting to kill his comrades. Truly shameless behavior. Whitebeard said nothing, and the crew did not take good care of themselves. "Don't go yet." Kaido then opened his mouth and said, "Blackbeard, come up and talk." "We are not used to it. There is nothing good to talk about. Blackbeard sweated, his voice trembling. "Go up." Kaido didn't have many words. Blackbeard sweated even more. Then Blackbeard swallowed his saliva and said, "Old father has forgiven me. I should be able to leave directly." "I will not forgive you," Kaido said calmly. Blackbeard thundered in the clear sky, "So he was waiting for me here." Whitebeard is not considered the main person here. He can forgive Kaido if he doesn't show, right? It turns out that Whitebeard is not waiting to cooperate with Kaido. He is just a subordinate of Kaido, a captain. "Old man, save me." Blackbeard was so scared. Hearing that, Whitebeard was silent for a while, then said, "Teach, you must pay dearly for your actions, abandoning your own child. Watching your own child being killed by a former enemy. Can your old father bear such a thing? This doesn't match your old father's standards of life. This old father is also a kind of humiliation." Blackbeard cried out in fear, "You're now begging your father. When you betrayed your father, did you ever think about your father? You're too shameless. Teach." The Whitebeard pirates and the others all snorted in disdain and criticized. Blackbeard turned a deaf ear. He knew what other people said was not important. Whitebeard's attitude could decide everything. As long as Whitebeard softened his heart, it would be fine. Whitebeard turned and left. Seeing that, the Whitebeard pirates burst into laughter. Although the old man was very good to everyone, he was as shameless as Teach, and in the end he couldn't protect him. "Old man," Blackbeard cried out in despair. Blackbeard and his group were brought to the square. "Directly project his image to the world." Kaido lowered his head to look at Blackbeard. Blackbeard's close contact with Kaido's exaggerated body also instinctively gave rise to a suffocating feeling. Blackbeard was so scared that his legs trembled. Right now, he didn't even have the courage to use his fruit ability. He couldn't even resist. In the end, Blackbeard was more like a speculator than a heedman. "Blackbeard, say something to the world." Kaido calmly said, "In your body are there two hearts. You have a different heart, even a different personality, right, Rocks?" Kaido asked Blackbeard to talk a little about his two hearts and Rock's personality. This issue is too shocking, too unimaginable. "What Rocks? What two hearts? Rock's personality? What do you mean? Why is Blackbeard involved with Rocks? How can I not understand this problem?" Sengoku, Whitebeard, Garp, these people have all seen and even had long-term contact with Rocks. That is a very distant name. Because he was so evil, the world government had long concealed his existence. Not many people in the world know Rocks, but Rocks left a very deep impression on Garp and the others. Now mentioning Rocks, who is actually related to Blackbeard, they all have quite a reaction. "What is lost, Rocks ... what to hearts?" "Hearts, I don't understand. I don't understand," Blackbeard confusedly denied. Kaido has godly vision. In fact, it is not certain whether Blackbeard really has two hearts or not. And whether he has Rock's personality or not, all is based on new speculation. For example, Blackbeard can have two fruits. This is very strange. It's not like having two hearts, two personalities. It's very difficult to explain. If the Yami Yami no Mi can increase one's maximum fruit consumption limit, then why is the maximum limit to fruits, and not 3, 4, or 5? It clearly shows that the Yami Yami no Mi can rob fruits, but it cannot give one to fruits. There is also Blackbeard's special physique. He doesn't need to sleep. Someone else doubles the time. Along with him, the others suffered twice as much. These all seem to have two personalities and wills. Perhaps he has two hearts. Rocks is resurrected in his body. The above is all speculation. But Blackbeard is a bit panicked now, instead of evidence and speculation. The outside world is also noisy, but they are also discussing who Rocks is. Rocks was the overlord of the sea 30 years ago. He had no interest in the position of the Pirate King and wanted to become the king of the world, so he became enemies with the celestial dragons. Kaido explained, but this doesn't mean that he is a good person. If he becomes the king of the world, he will be at least as cruel as the celestial dragons later. He was defeated by Roger and Garp in conjunction. This passage is published to the world later. Gloucester, what? There is also such a piece of history. Several decades ago, on the vast ocean, there was once a Rocks. Impossible. I've lived for more than 60 years. How come I haven't heard of it? Could it be that the existence of a sea heedman can be completely erased and sealed away? Roger teamed up with Garp to defeat him. He's stronger than the Pirate King, even more terrifying. If true, this Rocks sounds extremely brutal. Chie, so the vast ocean was once so scary. Countless commoners heard this for the first time. Roger was very scary. In the eyes of commoners, he was no different from a ghost. Can't think of Roger above, even more terrifying devil. Luckily Rox is dead. What's dead? Didn't you hear Kaido say that Rox might be resurrected on this Blackbeard's body? Fuck. So the reason for Blackbeard's public execution was because of this. The common people analyzed, suddenly feeling terrible. So the Pirate King is a more terrifying and brutal pirate. Seemingly wanting to be resurrected, everyone was scared. How can Kaido tell the world about Bullock's private affairs? Stop him. Gorosei Group is angry. That is a very disadvantageous name for the rule of the heavenly dragons and humans. Once raided God Valley because the celestial dragons brought humiliation. This type of existence should be completely eliminated. Although there are many ways to counter him, there is no method that can absolutely guarantee success. If it fails, the loss will be heavy. Should we just let him provoke us like that? Condense your strength and launch a fatal blow in the future. Right now, it seems like you can only endure hideous. Gorosei had a discussion. Very restrained, fire sample all destroyed. What method can guarantee absolute success? For now, there is none. On the vast ocean, has there ever been such a period of history? Navy and pirate group also commonly heard for the first time. Rox may not be dead yet, Kaido continued. Blackbeard, Marshal de teach, he doesn't need to sleep, he has double the time. He feels double the pain. There is some kind of inheritance relationship between him and Rox. I have reason to suspect that Rox is in his body, a second personality. This just said, everyone's fear and hatred for Blackbeard reached its peak. Such a ferocious and terrifying pirate cannot let him reincarnate on Blackbeard's body. Before the matter of Ace being Roger's son was announced, everyone immediately regarded Ace as the devil's heir, demanding to break this terrifying bloodline. Blackbeard practically inherited the even more terrifying Rox, so everyone would naturally treat him the same way. For a moment, Blackbeard was hated and condemned by almost all the common people. This is exactly what Kaido wants. If you want to invite the whole world, you must have something to show. Make everyone hate Blackbeard, then kill Blackbeard. Your reputation in the whole world will immediately skyrocket. How do you know these things? Blackbeard's sweat poured down like rain, terrified, between me and Rox. There exists some kind of inheritance relationship. Does anyone know this? Of course, no one knew that Blackbeard was especially good at hiding things. After he took the Whitebeard fruit, he gradually showed his inherited relationship with Rox, such as when he occupied the Hachinosu Island where Rox was once stationed, and made it his base. There is also Rox whose full name is called Rox D. Zebek. And Blackbeard named his ship 2 years later, the Sword of Zebek. Same as Blackbeard pirate style, also same as Rox pirate style. Everyone is for the benefit of being together, even will kill each other. Even the image style are a bit similar. One ship Captain Burgess' strength style is very similar to Whitebeard. For ship Captain Corrupt King a pair of horns is very similar to Kaido. 6 ship Captain Katarina at least the figure is similar to young Charlotte Lin. The other captains probably will also be like Rox under Golden Lion, Silver Axe, John, Okoku and the others. But the basic inheritance relationship was gradually revealed by Blackbeard 2 years later. At that time, he had already seized the Guragura no Mi, obtained almost invincible power, and easily became a Yonko. There was no need to hide his plots and thoughts anymore. But now, Blackbeard is still very well hidden. How did Kaido know? Looks like I was right. Should I call you Rox or Teach? Kaido asked. No, I'm not Rox. All of this is pure speculation. You have no evidence. You can't badmouth me, Blackbeard desperately denied. Then tear open your body and see if there are 2 hearts. Kaido received a sword and immediately wanted to make a move. What do you want to do? Blackbeard was horrified and shouted loudly, Old father, save me. Kaido wants to kill your son. The blade was getting closer and closer to Blackbeard's body. Bastard Kaido, Blackbeard suddenly shouted. The voice changed. The temperament also suddenly changed. Hair standing there, dancing wildly, eyes also more ferocious. Countless dark forces flooded out from his body, rocks. Whitebeard, Garp, Sengoku, these people who were relatively familiar with rocks, were all startled at this moment. Blackbeard's sudden change in demeanor was very much in Rox's eyes. The whole group reflexively assumed a defensive posture. His face was serious, surprised, and startled, staring intently at Blackbeard. Blackbeard transforms. Hair will happen. This isn't a second personality. The commoners of the SpongeBob Islands were terrified. The legendary Great Pirate really came back to life like this all around. The Navy and pirates were also preparing for battle. Blackbeard's demeanor changed greatly, and he said furiously, Kaido, you are seeking death. Rocks, Kaido asked, you scared? Blackbeard's voice was crazy and angry. Hearing that, Kaido assessed him. Your strength is not at its peak, right? Blackbeard's current body probably cannot display too much strength. You appearing now, in fact, is also useless, right? When Whitebeard was about to die, he could still beat Blackbeard to a pulp. Blackbeard is now considered a very weakling. He needed to obtain the Guragura no Mi fruit to rise, but he had no chance to find it. You think I'm not at my peak? Blackbeard growled softly. Yes. I just feel that you are not at your peak. Kaido nodded. Blackbeard was stunned. In fact, even if it were 2 years later, it would still be a long time before Rox would be resurrected. Because this body was not strong enough, because preparations were not enough, because the timing was not ripe, and so on. If Blackbeard hadn't died instantly, Rox wouldn't have been forced to revive now. He thought that by resurrecting, he could scare Kaido, reach some agreement or threaten him. Whoever thinks of Kaido has no fear at all. There is also no half-point of unexpectedness. Even hearing Rock's voice, there was no reaction. Whitebeard and the others were all startled. Kaido was as calm as a dead man. It's not like Kaido is too sober, but more like he's not familiar with rocks, has never come into contact with rocks. It doesn't matter if you're at the peak, killing you is still very easy. Kaido said, you just admit that you are rocks. Now I will publicly execute you, increasing my reputation in the whole world. You're crazy, Kaido, you're crazy. Blackbeard roared in horror. I'm resurrected. You're not surprised at all. You don't have anything to say to me. We haven't seen each other for so many years. You don't even want to say a single word. Are you Kaido or not? Rox forced out, also because he understood Kaido well. Feel like I can communicate, interact, and reach an agreement with Kaido just like 2 years later. Charlotte Lin lost her memory and was captured in Wano country. Kaido chose to let go of Charlotte Lin after exchanging and reaching a cooperation agreement with him. Kaido was able to communicate and cooperate, so to speak. Rox understood Kaido well, confident that with a few words he could immediately resolve the situation. Who thinks completely cannot talk? Kaido had no intention of discussing, negotiating, or cooperating. After confirming that it was Rox, they immediately wanted to execute him. Determined this is Kaido, and not the others in disguise. Realizing the collapse, expecting failure, led to Rox's current mood being a bit cold. Are you really Rox? Whitebeard's face was full of surprise at this moment. He couldn't help but approach and ask. It was considered that Rox was dealt with, but in reality, Rox was hiding in Blackbeard's body, surviving under his command. The temperament is very similar. The voice is also very similar. Garp crossed his arms and said judgmentally. Sengoku nodded similarly, very familiar, very close to the information in the report. You guys ... double quotes. Rox gritted his teeth. Together with Kaido, the idea of failure is to cooperate. Currently, Kizaru is surrounded by a group of old acquaintances. That bastard Garp was also here. That year, he joined forces with that kid Roger to sneak attack me, and was lucky enough to win against them. The more I think about it, the more I feel wronged. Right now I don't have much power. Being controlled by them, I feel even more isolated. That's really rocks. Kaido, Garp, Whitebeard, Sengoku all confirmed that he is rocks. TSK, how terrifying is this pirate's method? Can he be resurrected from a person? Is it the fruit's ability? What fruit has the power to make a person parasitize another person's body and come back to life? It's really scary. He must be executed, otherwise there will be endless trouble. Yes, but we must thoroughly execute him, otherwise who knows who might be resurrected. The commoners were afraid, and the rocks were very heavily attacked. Navy headquarters, Kaido, we can cooperate. Rocks Kalkon-sen said, didn't you say, want to summon people from all over the world? Together overthrow the heavenly dragons. That year I thought the same. Our directions, without any plan, coincide. We are the same group. You don't need to sentence me to death. We can once again become comrades. Then Rocks looked at Whitebeard. Whitebeard, give Kaido some advice. He might be prejudiced against me, turning his head again. Garp, you should know how strong I am, how much potential I have. With me here, overthrowing the celestial dragons will have a greater chance of victory. I alone can restrain 3 or 4 divine knights, and kill them. Listen. Kaido, Whitebeard raised his head. He will stab us in the back. Kaido shook his head and said, moreover, he currently does not have his previous strength. By the time he grows up again, our war with the celestial dragons will have ended long ago. There is no use keeping him. Killing him and proving to the world our determination to end the great pirate era is his ultimate value. Whitebeard nodded slightly, convinced. Garp also did not say half a sentence for Rocks. Everyone was waiting for Rocks to die. Rocks became even more devastated. Kaido, I really regret not killing you back then. I curse you, I curse you. Looks like you don't have a second chance at resurrection. Kaido said, could it be that you don't have a devil fruit from before, so there's no way to parasitize and resurrect? Then this time, you should completely disappear from this world. Living for several decades is enough. Rocks was stabbed in the truth, even more urgent. Loud and pleasant to hear, emotions changed so quickly. Collapsed sobbing, anger, humiliation, all changing at the same time. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Suddenly, Rock's expression changed, returning to Blackbeard's state. Blackbeard's face was full of panic, turned back to Rocks. Trash. Cowardly guy, I shouldn't die. Blackbeard returned. This face also has hair that changes as it goes. Why is it like this? I clearly obtained the Yami Yami no Mi. The plan was clearly going smoothly. Whitebeard clearly died at the summit battle. I clearly got very close to the top-level devil fruit. Very close to the king of the world. Why did it just fall like this? Blackbeard was extremely unwilling and howled. His plan was indeed very successful. Instead there was a transmigrator inside. Kaido and Blackbeard. Blackbeard, or should I say Rocks, is dead. The resurrected great pirate, has it been stopped? Kaido really does as he promised. Wants to end the great pirate era. Kaido. Foam Islands, everyone was stunned after, suddenly regarded Kaido as a hero. Resolve all people fear, hate the great pirate. The success of Kaido ending the great pirate age has been convincing. People naturally worship Kaido as a hero. Kaido's fame in a moment jumped to the peak. I can't believe Rocks really came back to life, but was stopped by Kaido. Double quotes. Kaido's current fame is unimaginable. The entire world's common people, I'm afraid, will be brainwashed by him and start to rebel against us. These people deserve to die. Gorosei was very angry. Looking at the place where the throne was not, there was still no figure of him. Damn. The situation is getting worse and worse. Kaido's execution and resurrection of Rocks, the news that would end the Great Pirate Era, quickly spread throughout the world, stirring up huge waves throughout the world.